So what's in store for us?
On this season?
Yeah.
It's very much a continuation of the events you guys saw in the finale of last year. For those that watched, it's kind of I think of that very much as like a pilot for this year. It's a reaction to that, and it's part of. The other thing is, I would sort of say, is it kind of as Oliver goes the show, and his journey sort of is the spine of the show. And our hope always was to introduce a character who was very different from who had some elements, but still very different from the Green Arrow that we knew and loved from the comic book. And this is sort of the second leg of that journey of his making his way. This year is very much making that turn from vigilante to something more hopeful, which is, I think, what the city needs in the wake of, he won a lot of battles last year, but the Glade still half blew up. Bad things happened, and so he wants to bring the city back and lift them up, and that requires a slightly different, masked hero than we saw last year.
Can we see more development in the Oliver and Laurel relationship, or strained because of Tony's dying?
It won't be strained so much between them. There'll be some strains between her and the Arrow, or her, the Hood, as it were. But Oliver and Laurel, starting off the year at least, will be close. Though they did have sex right before her former boyfriend, his best friend, died, which can be complicated. So our hope is to deal with that.
We've been teased on a lot of new DC characters coming in,
sure.
New villains, new other people like that. It felt like with the first season, you guys got to do a lot of that, and you got to do a lot of twists and reveals as it went along.
Yeah.
Because it was a little bit underground. Now, as the show has gotten much bigger and has more people following it, does
Sure.
that make it harder to make these things work?
Absolutely, it does. I think because everybody. Yes. I mean, the short answer is yes. The longer answer is that part of the fun of it for us, at least, and we our job, what we try to do is entertain ourselves, so that we feel like if we entertain ourselves, people will be entertained. It's like if we can surprise ourselves, or and so we do that, and then but yeah, people guess, and they guess earlier now, and they care earlier now, and there's an evolution to any of these things that we would do, and so you want the hopefully. Where for what we did last year, we're a little bit more rewarded with people's patience of like, all right, we'll start the story here. It may not be the character you know and love, but in time, it may become that character, and how we get there is sort of our jobs as storytellers. So. They're about to sort of release a whole slew of people that I know we're bringing on this year. Obviously, I just don't know that before they sat me down, they didn't say what the timing of that was, if it's happening in the next half hour or what it is.
Nobody here is publishing in the next hour.
Great, yeah. We have Sebastian Blood coming on, and so for those that know, he's Brother Blood. He'll be played by Kevin Alejandro, who I just worked with in Golden Boy last year. So that's exciting. And so there's one. But I think that's going to be the next, whatever. So don't get me in trouble, please. There's like DC police that come in and arrest you. You spend a night in the clink.
Well, last year, I mean, not only Oliver's fight against everybody on the list, but also Malcolm became that primary antagonist and really shaped all the second half and everything with the bomb at the end.
Yeah.
Have you guys tried to find one definitive point to build the whole arc of this season?
We'll sort of have two this year, actually, which in a way we did last year too, in terms of both Merlin and Malcolm. If you think about it, in terms of who he was as Malcolm, who he was as Merlin. We have a similar but different thing that we do this year. It's fun. You mean, will we pick between the two Speedies we've mentioned on the show?
Yeah.
They'll both take steps in that direction.
Well, isn't that fun? I mean, putting those characters together in a relationship like that complicates that.
Absolutely, yeah. Who's going to win the mantle? They both, the other thing is that the good fortune of the show is that we do have more characters to service this year and stuff. So sometimes you start the year off with plans. If I sat here with you last year, I'm not sure I would have known how far we would have taken certain things. Or how not far we would have gotten things that we sort of intended that are still kind of going into this year. So
Do you have like a 5-year plan or?
You do, but it's so, it modifies based on dailies, and you watch stuff and you think, oh my God, that's so cool, we should speed that up, or that's not working as well, let's take our time with that a little bit more. And obviously as the year goes on, that time between when we see stuff and you guys see stuff gets shorter and shorter, the window gets shorter and shorter, so you have to make decisions quicker. Anyway, sort of like that.
The balance between present day and the island, will that sort of remain the same, or will you see a shift in that?
It's about the same. We did 2 episodes early on last year without the island, and we felt like those were mistakes. We tried it because we just didn't know. It was before even the audience saw it. We thought, are people going to be confused by the? We got so much information back, and then we realized it was kind of working for us, and it works for the show. Obviously, there's episodes where we do it better, than other episodes, but our hope is to keep doing that. We have some fun stuff.
Are we ever going to see any of the island people?
Yes.
Off of the island?
Sure. Yeah. That is our hope.
And really kind of hoping that Tom wasn't really dead.
He's dead. I mean, I think just the nature of television today, it's when we were first doing things, I'm trying to think of the first show that we killed somebody off on or whatever, and everyone was like, oh my gosh, you did that, and now actually it's almost expected. I mean, there's just, TV is so much more, takes all sorts of risks, until you get a Red Wedding episode where it's like, oh my God, there's 3 members of your cast are dead now. I think the grandfather clause on that time period of time of that episode is kind of done, I think, now. Anyway, I'm kidding. I didn't say who. Anyway.